welcome back. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to ride to North Richmond Station and catch a train up to Reservoir skate park. The skate park up there that I want to check out. It's a bit further away, so I figure I'll catch the train all the way up there and then ride all the way back into the city. Here I am just checking on. We got the MyKey system here in Melbourne. Basically it's like a Oyster card. You just put money on the card and you use it. There is no cash system in Melbourne for transport anymore, I don't think, so yeah, got to do the MyKey. If you're thinking about catching a train there, we're catching the Mernda train. I think there's one every like 15-20 minutes, so you don't have to wait too long. But yeah, here's the train. I haven't taken the train for so long, I almost forgot to press the button to go into the doors. You need to press a button to open the doors to get on and off, so yeah, don't forget about that, they're not automatic.
Now arriving at Collingwood.
And here's the map for the people that are interested. We're just heading north on the purple line. We're gonna check out the skate park and then ride all the way back down to the city. Yeah, should be pretty fun. It's a pretty nice day today. It's about, I want to say 15 degrees, a lot warmer now. Going to be a high of 18, so it should warm up a bit. And the ride back should be mostly downhill, so it should be pretty fun as well. And this is Clifton Hill, if I remember correctly. Lots of nice fields and stuff. And yeah, you can bring your bike on the train in Melbourne, no issues. I think the only thing you can't do is go on the first cart because they have that reserved. But yeah, other than that, usually people go towards the last cart with their bikes and stuff, but I just went on the second one. As long as you're like out of the way and yeah, not in people's way, it's fine. Today was also, yeah, there was almost no one on this train, so yeah, it wasn't an issue at all. I'm sure if it's busier during rush hour, people might get annoyed. But yeah, I think only a few e-bikes came on here and there. But yeah, that was it. And then yeah, here's some of the scenery of heading out north, a bit more rural or suburban. You can see definitely just more flatline kind of shops. And then we arrived at Reservoir Station, just catch the elevator down, and then you got to tap off as well, so you can get out. And then yeah, here we are. That's the station. It looks like it got redone recently. A lot of stations got redone in Melbourne. But yeah, we're basically just going to ride to the skate park now. I didn't do a full put on the GoPro and film this because it's pretty quick to get there. You just basically go down the street, Leamington, and then it's a kind of straight shot all the way there. Pretty easy. Here's some classic suburban shots. This is what it looks like in Melbourne, and yeah, we're here. This is the park. You can see lots of graffiti, and it's more of a DIY park. I'm not sure on the history, but it looks like people kind of just built it up, and eventually people started putting more and more parts there. And then here we're just gonna have a look around, just a little tour, a little fun box thing there, a little hydrant, and then another little box, ledge, mani pad, a little curved ramp, and a few more ramps here and there. They got those barriers from the trams in Melbourne, pretty cool. Another bank, little tram, slappy curb. I think this was one of the first pieces that was there. And then there's this long ledge. I was talking to a dude there, he said that just recently got built, which is pretty cool. It's cool that people can kind of come and just add stuff to it, and it becomes like a super sick park. But yeah, when I first got here, I thought it was going to be smaller, but there was like so much stuff to skate, and you're kind of perplexed about what to skate because there's just so much. And then here's more stuff like pole jam, flat bars, round bars, with a little kink on the end. I think that's popular. And more barriers at the back, curved rail, and more slappy kind of curbs and stuff, banks. Super sick. If anything, I'd say there is like sticks and stuff here and there, but not that big of an issue, I don't think. Maybe if you run like real small wheels, but yeah, no problem here. I think that's like some type of youth center maybe. And then yeah, I just had a little skate. I basically just skated this. It was pretty fun. You can't, when you hop on, it has kind of like little bumps on it, so it kind of feels like a roller coaster a little bit. So yeah, it feels pretty different than just a normal straight curb. But yeah, I was pretty stoked on it, and yeah, the around there was like super chill. There were a few people skating there, but yeah, they're super nice, super chill, and yeah, I think people just seemed like a chill spot. I definitely want to come back. It seems super sick. There's just so much stuff to skate that I ended up just skating one thing, but yeah, still had a great time. And here's the rig, the GT, going pretty strong. My setup is I just got the skateboard in between the straps of my backpack. I figure it'll be a downhill ride, so I won't get that sweaty. But yeah, super sick park. I definitely recommend checking it out, and yeah, I'll be back soon. So yeah, we're gonna ride to the city now, and I realized that when I hopped on, for some reason the back tire felt really flat. And I remember before I left, I checked it, I just pumped it up a bit, but it definitely like lost some air. So I was like, oh no, I'll probably have to, ride back to the train station and maybe call it for today. But I tried to look for one of those bike repair stations, and lucky enough, there's one right near the station. So what I did was, when I was riding there, usually I wouldn't do this because if you ride with a flat, you could like rip the tube at the valve. So when I was riding, I was like leaning like really far forward just to try to keep as much weight off the back. And I think another thing that helped was I had those fat Merit tires on there, which were quite thick, and yeah, I feel like they protected the tube a little bit, so I felt comfortable just riding it. But yeah, I was at this point, I was like, oh no, I was hoping I could like finish the video or finish filming in one day. That way I wouldn't have to come back out to kind of like film the riding footage. But yeah, I was kind of, I just didn't know what was going to happen. But I was like, you know what, I'll go to the station, bike repair station, and see. Hopefully I can just pump it up and it will last me till the rest of the ride. Yeah, I'm hoping. Sometimes it might just have a slightly very small hole and it could last, but I won't know till I pump it up. And when I got to station, yeah, luckily the pump worked, so I was hyped on that, and I was pumping it up and down, and it seemed like there was an issue with it, so it kind of lost air as well. So when I pulled on the valve, it would lose air, and then when I pushed down, it seemed to stop. So there's definitely like a hole near the valve. And what I ended up doing was I pumped it up as much as I could without it leaking air. And then at this point I had to make a decision where just to like go home on the train or just try to risk it and go for a ride. And I decided to just risk it and go for a ride and see how it goes. If it stops, then or rips open, I can't ride anymore. At least I can just either go back on a train and go home, or yeah, stop at a bike shop or something. But yeah, I'm trying to ride real careful here, just like riding down the hill, and I'm riding on the footpath because that road is so busy, and I had my skateboard in my backpack and I didn't want to get too crazy. But yeah, after a while I thought maybe it's better to ride on the road because it's a bit smoother. You can see my shadow there with the skateboard on the back. But yeah, basically took it pretty easy, and you can see this is kind of like Reservoir, heading towards Preston, and yeah, kind of more just houses and stuff. And then just coming up here, there's actually a bike path next to the train, the railway. So I decided I'm going to ride on that. Hopefully that's a bit smoother, and I won't have to worry about cars hitting me. I definitely don't recommend riding on the road on that road. So yeah, just crossing the railroad here, And then every now and then I was also checking, like stopping and checking to make sure the air wasn't coming out. And it seemed to be doing so alright so far. So once I was on this bike path, I was like, okay, sweet, it should be pretty smooth sailing from here. So I kind of just cruised a bit faster. And it was funny because, within like a little bit, you'll see up there, it's like not even like, 5-10 minutes, then it went rough. And then I thought, am I taking the wrong road back? I didn't see this on Google Maps, so I figure I just gotta, kind of gotta go for it and just hope for the best. There's actually another bike path on the other side of the station that I didn't know about, but this path led me down this way. But yeah, the gravel wasn't too crazy rough, so I don't think I lost too much air. And then here, we're basically at Preston now. You can see it's all downhill, so it ended up being pretty quick. And you can see this is Preston Station again, like redone with all the bike paths, which is quite cool. And I think they painted all the pillars and stuff, which is pretty sweet. And yeah, people were out on their bikes. It was like super nice day, so people were out having a good time. But yeah, I kept riding towards the city now. And yeah, Preston, I think what Preston is known for is kind of like the fresh markets, fresh fruit and vegetable markets, and fresh produce, stuff like that. And it's also pretty diverse, but I think recently, a lot of it's starting to get gentrified because Brunswick's getting expensive and everything is getting pushed north. So yeah, it's getting more gentrified, it's getting more expensive, prior newer developments and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think people, kind of young professionals, are starting to move out here just because it's a little bit more affordable for what they can afford. But yeah, it seemed definitely more kind of like suburban out here. But yeah, you can see there's this real nice bike path that goes between the railway, and you can see all the little facilities like exercise facilities, playgrounds. I don't remember this stuff being here at all when I was living back in Melbourne, but yeah, it definitely looks like everything's been redone. You can tell by all the new plants, the new kind of vegetation, all that kind of stuff, which makes it really nice to ride for sure. And then as I'm riding, I decided to kind of pull off riding next to the train line because my tire felt pretty good. I felt like it wasn't like hard or anything, it was still kind of soft, but it seemed like it wasn't losing air. So I decided, maybe I can still kind of like cut through Brunswick and into the city. So I was a little bit more confident at this point. So yeah, I pulled away from the train line since hopefully I won't need to catch a train home. And then we can do our ride into Fitzroy in the city. So yeah, here I'm just heading towards the main road, and this is St. George's Road. It's kind of like a really busy highway, or I don't know, double lane road that goes kind of into the city. But the interesting thing is, or the thing that I want to check out is there's actually a bike path that goes in between the two lanes, which I always see people riding on, and it looks quite cool, and I've never done it before. So yeah, I want to check it out, and it's pretty cool infrastructure to have that right in the middle of the two lanes. So one, you don't have to ride next to the cars, and then I guess you kind of have your own little space to ride and feel protected. It's pretty cool they did that. And then here you can see the trams. Up here, the tram was like blocking the bike path, and wasn't unsure why, because there was room like the front and the back of the tram for the tram to move, but maybe got stuck or something. So just a little bit of off-road again with the tire. I was like, oh, should I go off-road? But I just did it. And then once on the bike path, I was I was pretty hyped because I felt a lot better about the wheel, and yeah, this is basically just a straight shot, straight down. So when I was planning out my trip today, because it's a little bit further out than I usually ride, it got me thinking about e-bikes a little bit, and I kind of want to talk about just the benefits and the downsides of an e-bike versus normal riding. And what I think it is basically it comes down to the experience you're after. I think a lot of people, they easily group e-bikes and bikes as the same thing, and I can see why people would jump to that conclusion. You're just chucking a motor or a battery onto a bicycle, an activity that you already do. But I think a lot of people don't see it as two different experiences. And in my experience, I feel like it's definitely two different things. I would say like an e-bike, especially if you have a throttle on it, it's actually more like a moped or like a low-powered motorbike. And I know a lot of people might disagree or whatever, but I'm just sharing my experience. So when I use the e-bike, the reason why I actually do like it for certain things is, the number one thing is probably when I'm feeling lazy. When I'm feeling lazy and I don't want to ride and I don't want to, put in the energy to kind of get somewhere, or if I'm feeling tired or sore, that's probably the number one thing that I use it for, and I feel like it's super, super awesome for that. Especially if you want to carry something heavy as well. If you're carrying a big load, like if I'm doing like tons of groceries, or I'm carrying bike parts home, like a frame or something, or wheels or whatever, having the e-bike actually makes it way better and makes it way easier. And for me, one of those reasons is I see the e-bike as more of kind of like a utility, like a tool. And I think just right there, that changes the experience completely, because when I hop on the e-bike, I'm not really going for a leisurely ride. And I'm not saying it's not fun. It's fun to kind of like sit and just cruise, but it's a completely different experience than riding an analog bike. So yeah, I mentioned, it's good for when you're lazy. It's good for carrying stuff. Good for when you need to get somewhere in the pinch, or you need to actually get somewhere like really quickly. It's great for that. But some of the downsides that I've kind of experienced is when you have an e-bike and it's always there, it's real easy not to ride a normal bike, because I think we're creatures of comfort, and if something's easy, we're just going to do the easy thing. And just having access to an e-bike sometimes just makes things actually too easy. And then another thing is, I feel like that the riding experience that I was talking about is a little different. So if you want to be out in the woods and you just want to be enjoying yourself and getting kind of like that physical high, I feel like that the e-bike is not really as good for that, because basically, it makes noise. There's a motor. You can always hear it. You're not really pedaling. You're not really exerting yourself at all. It's like the whole, I guess, like, the man-machine thing. It's when it's a human-powered bike, you kind of feel more connected to the bike itself. I don't know if other people feel this, but when you're riding something that doesn't have a motor, you definitely feel more connected to it. You're a little bit more aware of kind of like how it's performing, all that kind of stuff, and you are more in tune. It's almost like it becomes an extension of your body. Like I think a good thing I like to compare it to is kind of like hand tools versus power tools. Obviously you can get, real finessed with power tools, but I feel like with detailed stuff and kind of real fine adjustments or work, like the hand tool is like way better for that, and you're kind of more in tune with it when you're working on the thing you're working on. And I know a lot of purists that they hate they hate e-bikes. They say, oh, it's not, it's not a bike. I would never ride a bike, and they're all just about riding analog. And I think that's cool, but I think often sometimes they miss out on the point of an e-bike as well. I think often people think it's to replace the current experience of riding, but they don't realize that it's a completely different tool and completely different experience as well. For me, when I'm kind of riding, and I know it's different for everyone, but for me, when I'm riding purely just for fun, just where riding is kind of like the activity, and that's kind of what I want to do. I'm not carrying anything, I'm not doing an errand. For me, it is the analog bike, because I feel that's when I'm the most connected with my bike and I can have the most enjoyment, and it kind of feels the best when you're done as well. The bike is also lighter, so yeah, there's no way I'm gonna ride my just like heavy cargo bike just ride around for fun. When I've got a way kind of like lighter bike, a more whippy bike that I can play around on. And it also impacts your lifestyle. So having an analog bike and getting into the lifestyle of riding more analog every day, one of the benefits is definitely you're going to be a lot more active and a lot fitter. And it kind of just like, I don't know, you're kind of just training your body and your mind to be kind of more active, where I feel like if you only had an e-bike, then you'd be missing out on that a little bit as well. And so yeah, it could totally be that I own both bikes, so I've definitely split up the experience of both and the usages for both, so that's why I feel so differently about the two. But yeah, I definitely see them as like two different machines. And then the thing that got me kind of like thinking about it is, would today be better on an e-bike since it's further away, and then I could just do the whole thing on the bike? And I think that's where it starts to kind of overlap. I think because I was riding to somewhere, like to skate somewhere, that is probably more utility. But yeah, it was a little thought I had whether to have or have not an e-bike. I'd be interested to see, what other people think of, you're pro or against e-bikes, and if you do both, maybe you do a lot of downhill runs on your e-bike and you get the same enjoyment out of it. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear your experience, and if you see them as two separate things or a combined thing. So yeah, after all that rambling, we went all the way down Brunswick Street. I didn't do any cuts on Brunswick Street this time, just because I just wanted to show you the whole street. I sometimes have people like message me saying, "Oh, can we see the whole Brunswick Street?" So yeah, for people asking, here it is. It actually is quite nice, and there's like a lot to look at, which I think is pretty cool. And yeah, today was like super nice out. It's probably like 18 now, maybe a bit higher, but yeah, you can see everyone's out, everyone's going to cafes and stuff, or on their break at work. But yeah, super nice. Finally starting to get warmer here. I think we're almost at the end of winter here. I heard from some of my friends in the US it's like a heat stroke at the moment, so kind of like opposite. But yeah, we're looking forward to like nicer days and warmer weather. This is kind of the top end of Brunswick Street, heading towards the city, and this you still get kind of like your boutique shops, but I think a little bit more mainstream shops here and there. Here's a little grocery store up here, and then yeah, this van pulling out but then pulling back in. It's pretty. I feel like it's funny when cars do that, when they pull out in front of you but then they pull over straight away, like they couldn't wait 2 seconds. But yeah, and then just up here on the left is the housing, commission housing. You can still see there's like street art, a lot of street art on the streets and stuff. Definitely down Brunswick Street. and then as we ride here is getting to the kind of like the top end of Gertrude Street. This Gertrude Street just here. I'm going to take a right here, and then gonna cut through, go straight on Gertrude Street. You can see on the right side of Gertrude Street there's a lot of cafes and little shops here. I think St. Cloud, Nick's cycling store, used to be here, but they moved. And then just going straight towards the museum. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, just passing on the right here, there's these e-delivery bikes, and they're kind of just like 20, I think maybe 20-inch wheels. Sometimes maybe they're 16-inch wheels, but 20-inch wheels. And they all the delivery people here use them. Super utilitarian. They kind of just sit on the throttle and really deliver all the food and stuff. And they are everywhere here in Melbourne. And I think it's kind of quite funny because there used to be either bicycles or used to be mopeds, and it's kind of like those e-bikes now. Those e-delivery bikes have replaced all the mopeds, which I think it's also I know it's different for different people, but I think it's good in a way. It's probably a little less pollution and a little bit more friendly. Definitely smells better. And here we are taking a ride. We just cut through Melbourne Museum. On the left is quite a nice park as well. There's a huge fountain there. I tried to show it, but probably was riding too fast. But nice park on the left there. Good to hang out. Really kind of quiet, and there's a lot of trees and stuff. A lot of people go there and eat lunch or whatever, and it's super close to the city. But you can still, once you step in there, it's kind of like, I guess, the same type of feeling as like when you go to Central Park in New York. You kind of just you feel like you're away from the traffic straight away. As soon as you hop in the park, you can't really hear the noise or anything, which is quite cool. But they don't let you ride bikes in there, so I think you gotta walk or ride around their perimeter. Here, just taking a right up here, and then we're heading to Swanston Street again. I just wanted to check out Swanston Street. I think it's always cool to see what's going on in the city, just down the city, and see what's everyone's doing. And I'm basically just riding. I think my battery I didn't know how long my battery lasts, because my battery usually lasts, I think, not even an hour. So I feel like it's getting close to that. So I figure I just ride until my battery cuts out. Riding down here, there's the university on the right, and you can see a lot of uni students out over here. And then as we get towards the State Library on the left, you can see it'll get super busy, like tons and tons of people out. This is probably like one of the main intersections. And you got Melbourne Central across there, big shopping centre, and then you got the library on the left, and then that famous little corner bit that a lot of people skate. But you can see there's the library right there. But tons of people out. You can see it's completely packed. This is I think this is about midday. And then don't forget to stop for the trams, which for the tram doors. For some reason I thought I would be able to just ride straight downhill all the way to Fed Square without stopping, but I kind of forgot about the trams, and you always got to stop for them because it's usually packed out here. And then this is on the left is QV. You can see tons of people. So more your mainstream shops, and you get a lot of the Asian restaurants again. Classic Macca's on the right there. That corner definitely gets busy at night. And then just riding through, you can see a lot of bikes parked out as well, all locked up. And then here's the Chinatown Street cutting through there. And then yeah, we're almost at Burke Street, I think. And then yeah, this is basically after the tram. This is where my battery cut out, and I just ended up riding straight, all the way straight to Fed Square. But yeah, not too bad of a ride. It was pretty fun. Ended up being a super nice day, so super happy with that. And then yeah, just looking over the bridge here, giving you guys a little bit of a city view. Always looks good around here. Very picturesque, I think. I quite enjoy it. And then yeah, got the river, got the ferries running, people taking photos like you do, a ferry. And then yeah, here's the rig going strong. I got the clunker bars and XT set up. Got the XT shifters as well, 7-speed, 3x7. Got the RockShox up front, set on super soft. Got the Merit tires. The tires held up well. You can see this GT seat got slipped all the way back though, so I don't know what happened there. I have to tighten that back up. But yeah, the tire held up. Merit tires, you can still see a bit of air in there still. Should make it home alright. And got Merit pedals, Dior LX cranks. And yeah, that's basically it. Riding pretty sweet. Big thank you to JL for your donation. I really appreciate it. I didn't get to a cafe today, but do it next time. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about e-bikes. Hope you guys liked the video. Thanks for watching. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.